So hello guys, in this After Effects tutorials, I want to show you how you can create a neon pixel logo animation like this. So stick around, let's get started. This logo animation tutorials was requested by one of my subscribers, and after checking it, I realized that this animation style originated from Render Forest. So now in Adobe After Effects, you click a new composition. We're going to leave this to 1920 by 1080. We're going to leave this to 30 frames per second, although the animation is shorter than 10 seconds, but I'm going to leave it like this. Then you're going to need to rename your composition. And then you hit OK. So right click on your timeline, go to new, and then create a new solid layer. We're going to name this BG. So make comp size and then hit OK. On this solid layer, I'm going to add a gradient ramp. In fact, I'm going to swap it. Then the upper color, I'm going to make adjustment to that. Navigate to where you have your logo, drag and drop it into the project manager window to import. So I'm going to hit OK. Drag and drop the logo into your timeline. So hit S on the keyboard to scale this down. I think this is okay. So I'm going to Control Shift C to pre-compose this. I'm going to name this logo holder. Move all attributes to the new composition and then you hit OK. So make your logo layer a 3D. You're going to Control D on the keyboard to duplicate this. So we're going to select the bottom one. We hit R on the keyboard. We're going to rotate it on the X-axis. On the X-axis by -180. So we're going to hit P on the keyboard to reveal the position. Then we're going to move this down also on the Y-axis until it's something like this. So we're going to select both compositions and then Control Shift C again to pre-compose it. We're going to name this 3D logo. Make sure you move all attributes again to the new composition and then hit OK. So you're going to also make this a 3D layer. Now select the ellipse tool and make sure no layer is selected. Then you draw a circle like this. Add a Gaussian blur effect. Make the blurriness 300. And uncheck repeat edge pixels. With the shape layer still selected, hit S on your keyboard to reveal the scale property. Then we are going to move slightly after 4 seconds, then set a keyframe for the scale, then come back to 0 and change the scale value to 0. Select all the keyframes, hit F9 on your keyboard to ease. Now you need to toggle the timeline and then select the 3D logo holder composition and make it set the track mark to the shape layer. So we're going to select the shape layer again, then Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it. So we're going to select this both, Ctrl Shift C again to pre-compose it. Move all attributes to the new composition and then hit OK. If you scrub through your timeline now, this is what you got. That reveals the logo entirely. Toggle the timeline back again and make this a 3D layer. So we're going to right click on the timeline, go to new and create a new camera. Then right click again, go to new and create a new null object. This is going to serve as the camera control. Then select the camera object. Then make sure you make it a child of this new null object. Then make sure also the null object is made a 3D layer. Now move your time indicator to 4 seconds 13 frames forward in time. So we're going to select the camera controller, hit R on the keyboard to reveal the rotation property. Then we're going to set a keyframe right there for the X value and also the Y value. Now at 3 seconds 6 frames, make X value 40 and Y value 31. Then set a new keyframe for the Z value. Now at 2 seconds 24 frames, you're going to have to copy these last keyframes here. Ctrl C on the keyboard to copy, then paste it at that 2 second 24 frames. Now move your time indicator to 0, make X value 57 and Y value -36. and then the Z value -18. Now move your time indicator to 3 seconds 6 frames forward in time. We're going to expand the camera options right here. Then we're going to set a keyframe for the zoom and change the value to 2851.7. Move your time indicator to 5 seconds 29 frames forward in time and change the zoom value to 1633.7. Select all the keyframes right here, hit F9 on your keyboard to easy ease. If you scrub through your timeline now, this is the style of animation you got. That is only for the first stage. So let's move back to this spot where we can see almost all the logo. So we're going to select this bottom logo holder right here. We're going to add a fill layer style. We're going to go to layer style after right clicking. We're going to select color overlay on the color overlay here so that we can set the color to gray. Right click again and then go to layer style, add bevel and emboss. Expand the bevel and emboss option and make the size 8. On this same layer, we're going to add the effect called Gaussian blur. So we're going to set the blurriness to 18. So we're going to also add a glow effect. Switch this to the project manager window. We're going to select the first logo holder composition, drag and drop it into your timeline. Then we're going to make it 3D. So let's move our time indicator forward in time to when the logo is pulling backward. So we're going to enable that first mask that we duplicated. First of all, let's move it above the logo composition. Then we're going to set the track matte of this new logo holder composition to rate. That mask duplicate had a keyframe, so hit U on the keyboard to reveal the keyframes. So we're going to select these 2 keyframes right here and find a place to the point where this entire thing is moving back. That is when we want it to show. So when it starts going back for the animation to start showing. So I'm going to move this keyframe still right here. So select the bottom main logo, the one we added a layer style to. So we're going to add an effect called grid wipe. So just keyframe the transition completion for the grid wipe and then set the properties to your preference. So we're going to right click on the timeline, go to new and create a new solid layer. Make comp size and then hit OK. We're going to add the effect called lens flare. We're going to go here and set it to 105 mm. So we're going to move the center to about this point right here at the top. We can still pull that back in. Somewhat like this is okay. So we're going to select this and set the mode to screen. That way we can see what we got right here. So the next thing again we're going to do is right click again. Right click on the timeline, go to new and create a new adjustment layer. So we're going to add the curve effects to this. So we'll go into where it says RGB and select the blue channel and pull it up until you have a bluish scene like this. Select the flare layer, move your time indicator to about this point where everything starts settling down. Hit T on the keyboard to reveal the opacity, set a keyframe right there and move forward in time and put down the opacity to 15. So if you preview the entire animation now, this is what you have. And this is how you can create a neon pixel logo animation right inside Adobe After Effects. So if you find this tutorial helpful, you can also check this next tutorial right here that will dive deeper, showing you more skill to become a pro. So until I see you again on the next one, my name is SSB Otaru for MotionDigit Studios.